They disappeared from the limelight, some quietly, others in a storm of controversy. But now, they've returned stronger, louder, and more unapologetically themselves than ever before. From beloved TV legends to unforgettable pop culture icons, these gay celebrities have staged comebacks that shook Hollywood to its core. Just when the world thought their stories had ended, they flipped the script. These are the bold returns that are redefining fame, pride, and power, and wait until you see who made the list. When Adam Lambert exploded onto the scene in 2009 on American Idol, he didn't just perform, he detonated. With his smoky eyeliner, leather-clad swagger, and a voice that could pierce the heavens, Adam didn't sneak queerness into primetime TV, he marched it in with a glam rock battle cry. He wasn't coded or quiet. He was glitter, fire, and fearless authenticity, and in doing so, he shattered expectations in living rooms across America. But fame comes with a price. After his electrifying and controversial performance at the American Music Awards, where he kissed a male dancer on live television, the backlash was swift. Conservative outlets clutched their pearls. TV appearances were pulled. Executives panicked. The message? Sing, but don't scare us. His voice was welcome, but his truth? Too bold. Too much. So he adapted, but never conformed. His debut album For Your Entertainment went platinum, and the single What Do Ya Want From Me earned him a Grammy nomination. He proved he wasn't just a spectacle, he was staying power. But the Adam who entered the mainstream had been gently sanded down. The fire still burned, but it came through a filter. The edges softened. The world wasn't ready. Then the spotlight dimmed. No tabloid scandals, no chart-topping hits, just a slow simmer. Whispers of burnout began to circulate. But Adam wasn't fading. He was sharpening his blade. And in 2014, he made his boldest move yet. He stepped into Freddie Mercury's shoes as the frontman for Queen. For many, that would have been unthinkable, sacrilege even. But Adam didn't imitate. He didn't try to replace. He redefined what it meant to be a queer rock icon in the 21st century, electrifying, soulful, and proudly, defiantly himself. Then came Velvet in 2020, a lush, disco-drenched masterpiece. Gone was the filtered Adam. In his place stood a man in rhinestone boots and velvet blazers, singing with a freedom that had been years in the making. Tracks like Roses and Superpower weren't just songs, they were statements. He didn't just reclaim his space. He expanded it. When he took the stage at London Pride, there was no doubt Adam Lambert isn't a throwback. He's a blueprint. A living, breathing symbol of what queer stardom looks like when it stops apologizing. I was told to tone it down, he said at World Pride. Now I turn it up louder. Adam's story isn't one of a comeback. It's a lesson in evolution. He didn't disappear. He paused, recalibrated, and returned with a thunderclap. Because true stars? They don't ask to shine. They blaze, transform, and leave the world brighter than they found it. Drop a fire if you believe some voices were never meant to be silenced. They were born to soar. Taylor Zahar Perez, Hollywood's modern-day Prince with a mysterious edge. In 2023, he set social media on fire with his breakout performance as Alex Claremont Diaz in red, white, and royal blue. With smoldering eyes, a disarming smile, and an on-screen charisma that merged old-school romance with modern vulnerability, Taylor didn't just play a romantic lead. He became a symbol, a dream figure for the global LGBTQ+ community. Edits flooded TikTok, fan art exploded across Instagram, and Tumblr threads crowned him the heartthrob of a generation. But just as the spotlight was beginning to cement him as Hollywood's next leading man, he disappeared quietly. No endorsement blitz. No talk show circuits. No dramatic statements. Just a few warm-toned Instagram posts, his dog curled at his side, and moments of soft, domestic solitude. Fans asked, where did Taylor go? Some thought he needed space. Others whispered that Hollywood, for all its progress, didn't know what to do with someone like him, too sultry for cookie-cutter straight roles, yet never publicly out. That ambiguity made him magnetic, but also made him a question mark in a business that loves certainty. Then, without warning, he returned, not with a bang, but with a shimmer. Paris Fashion Week. A sheer black blouse. A single pearl earring. Tailored pants. A subtle flash of hip. The photo went viral. The caption? Just one emoji. No words. None needed. The message was crystal clear. He wasn't hiding. He was evolving. In a rare and reflective interview soon after, Taylor shared, "I needed time to understand what stories I want to tell, what kind of artist I want to be, and how I want to show up in the world." Now, rumors swirl of 2 major LGBTQ+ films on the horizon, plus a deeply personal project exploring his Mexican-American heritage. What sets Taylor apart isn't just his beauty, it's his refusal to be defined. He's not sprinting for fame, not chasing validation. He's building something slow, intentional, and bold. His sexuality? Undefined, perhaps deliberately. But his impact? Unmistakable. Taylor represents a new kind of masculinity, fluid, layered, magnetic. He didn't vanish. He recalibrated. And now he's back, more self-possessed, more daring, and fully in control of his narrative. Because some stars don't fade. They just step out of frame until it's their time to shine. Dino Fetcher used to be one of those actors whose face you'd recognize instantly, but whose name you couldn't quite place. Always present, always striking, but rarely the star. That's no longer the case. Today, Dino isn't just on screen, he's reshaping what queer representation looks like in television. His rise wasn't built on tabloid drama or overnight fame. It was forged slowly, quietly, through integrity, intention, and a refusal to play anyone's stereotype. He first caught real attention in Russell T Davies's bold LGBTQ+ series Cucumber and Banana, delivering performances that whispered of something deeper. But even then, the industry often saw him as a pretty face rather than a serious talent. Hollywood and even British TV passed him over again and again. But Dino wasn't chasing fame, he was chasing truth. He stepped away from shallow scripts, turned down roles that reduced queer characters to caricatures, and returned to the stage to sharpen his artistry. "I wanted to play real people, not just labels," he once said, in a rare but revealing interview. That choice changed everything. His powerful return in Apple TV+'s foundation was no accident. It was a turning point. As Glawn Kerr, a layered queer character with depth, purpose, and dignity, Dino wasn't comic relief or tragic sidekick. He was essential. Finally seen. That performance caught the eye of casting directors and audiences alike, earning him a standout role in Davies's acclaimed Years and Years, where his emotional range quietly stole the spotlight. But Dino's magic isn't just in the roles, it's in the way he shows up. No scandals, no social media stunts. Just a calm confidence. On red carpets, he embraces soft masculinity with velvet blazers, pearl earrings, and open collars, not as a statement, but as a reflection of self. He doesn't scream for attention. He radiates it. Off-screen, he's just as intentional, using his platform to advocate for mental health within the LGBTQ+ community and pushing for richer, more honest portrayals of queer men in media. His influence is spreading, not through controversy, but through quiet example. As Vogue recently called it, Dino represents this new era, the age of quiet power. And with a major queer romance miniseries set to premiere in 2025, his story is far from over. Dino Fetcher didn't beg for the spotlight. He earned it through grace, grit, and an unwavering belief that authenticity is louder than any headline. Drop a 4. If his quiet rise reminded you that sometimes the most powerful voices don't shout, they simply resonate. Nicholas Galitzine. From fairytale prince to the quiet soul of a generation. Once known simply as the dashing British heartthrob from Cinderella, Nicholas Galitzine seemed destined for a career of safe, polished romance, clean-cut, charming, the kind of actor casting directors love for mainstream love stories. But Nicholas had something else in mind. With quiet determination, he stepped off the expected path and reshaped his identity, not just as an actor, but as a symbol. No longer just the new guy with a pretty face, Nicholas has become the poster boy of Hollywood's new era of romantic leads, vulnerable, emotionally layered, and sincere to the core. In Purple Hearts and Red, White, and Royal Blue, he didn't just act, He redefined what it means to fall in love on screen, especially for stories that have long existed in the margins. His portrayal of Prince Henry, a closeted royal torn between duty and desire, wasn't loud or overacted. It was restrained, aching, and unforgettable. While others expected him to chase brand deals and comfortable roles after Cinderella, Nicholas chose risk over routine. He sought out characters with contradictions, roles that make audiences pause and ask, "Who is this man really?" And when the inevitable conversation arose about playing a queer role as a straight actor, he didn't flinch. He met it head-on, saying, "Telling queer love stories is an honor. If I can bring tenderness and truth to it, I will." Then, just as his star began to rise, he vanished. No red carpets. No interviews. Silence. Fans speculated. Was he protecting his image, or simply taking a breath? Whatever the reason, his return felt intentional. On the red carpet, he emerged with sheer tops, pearl necklaces, slicked back hair, and pieces from Loewe and Fendi. It wasn't about shock, it was about expression. Nicholas's image transformed. Press photos turned moody, intimate. His presence blurred masculinity with softness. Rumors whispered through Hollywood. A queer biopic, a psychological thriller tinged with homoerotic tension, maybe even a secret musical. But what's clear is this: Nicholas Galitzine isn't just acting anymore. He's becoming a mirror for a generation that craves subtlety, emotion, and truth. Online, the response has been electric. Queer Twitter calls him the romantic lead we've always wanted, even if he never says the words out loud. Edits flood TikTok. Fanfiction imagines his unspoken thoughts. His energy speaks volumes, even in silence. He may never come out, and maybe he doesn't need to. His roles, his choices, his aesthetics, they're all saying something profound. That sometimes the most powerful declarations are quiet. That you don't need to scream to be heard. Nicholas Galitzine didn't reinvent himself with noise. He showed up with softness, sincerity, and impeccable timing. And in a world obsessed with comebacks and controversies, that silent grace might just be the boldest move of all. Ezra Miller was once the shimmering face of Hollywood's queer awakening, enigmatic, electrifying, and utterly unforgettable. With breakout roles that pushed boundaries and red carpet looks that defied gender norms, they weren't just an actor, they were a movement. But between 2020 and 2022, everything unraveled. A storm of arrests, bizarre headlines, and disturbing incidents from Hawaii to Iceland turned admiration into confusion. The media pounced. Fans were torn. And Warner Brothers stood on shaky ground, clinging to a $200 million risk called The Flash. It looked like career suicide. But in 2023, Ezra didn't come back begging for forgiveness or chasing a redemption arc. They re-emerged in silence. Clad in all black at the Flash premiere, no grand speeches, no press circus, just presence. Calm, composed, deliberate. And while the film stumbled at the box office, critics couldn't ignore the raw, emotional power Ezra brought to the screen. Since then, they've faded from the chaos, not in disgrace, but in control. No headlines, no meltdowns. Just whispers of a quiet reinvention. Indie films, art house ventures, avant-garde fashion. Whether you love them or loathe them, one thing is clear: Ezra Miller isn't just a controversy anymore. They are the narrative. Thanks for watching Exposed Hollywood. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories behind the spotlight. Stay tuned, there's always more to uncover.